Then Design at 9 kicks off with awesome interiors. Jennifer's Guest shows you that to decorate, you only need to be rich in ideas. At 9:30, Design at 9 continues with this small space. Come to a tiny beach cottage where the walls and ceiling have been removed. At 10, it's the HGTV International Hour starting with Homefront. Learn how to create a beautiful holiday garland with a contemporary twist. And at 10:30, it's Homes by Design. Explore homes with a French colonial influence. It's all tonight on HGTV.
You're watching HGTV Daytime, right here on Home and Garden Television.
Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton, the house doctor. Welcome to the House Doctor. I'm Ron Hazelton, the doctor who still makes house calls. And for the next half hour, I'll be passing along some useful tips on fixing up your home or apartment. Now, chances are your kitchen or bathroom floors are made out of vinyl. Later on, I'll show you the right way to clean those vinyl floors and keep them in top condition. Right now, though, let's help a neighbor who's asked me to give him some space. Closet space, that is. Well, we're here at Ian's house this morning, actually in Ian's bedroom. Ian, now you've got a problem with some closet space, right?
You bet, Ron. It's been kind of a sore point here. My wife and I have been talking about where are we going to put our clothes? Where are we going to put everything? We've been here a year and a half and very limited closet space. So we would like to take advantage of this space here and
the space right here.
Yeah.
So what we're going to actually do is we're going to make a closet for him right on this wall, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Ian went out and bought 4 glass sliding doors, which we're going to install on the end of this room right here. The problem is the doors are narrower than the end of the room, and they're shorter than the ceiling height. So we're going to have to build out a little wall section, one on this end, about a foot or so, and one on the opposite wall. And we're going to have to bring a header down so that we create an opening that's just the right size for those doors. Now, it's going to look something like this when we've got it installed in the end of the room here. So the first thing I want to do is make some measurements and decide exactly how large these sections are going to be. Now, in order to give adequate room on the inside of this closet for large hanging items, I want to make the inside wall 27 inches from the wall of the room, okay? The wall itself is going to be 3.5 inches thick, so the outside of the wall will be about right here. Now, I want to attach this wall, which is coming out, to the existing wall, so let's see if we've got a wall stud back there to give us something to nail into. So we'll zero out our stud finder. Okay, we do. We're in luck, right on the spot where we want to attach this wall. On the left end of the closet, we've got some obstructions in here, but we still want to have the inside wall 27.5, the outside wall at 31, but I am going to have to frame around this, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Using the level, I've extended those marks up to the ceiling and down to the floor. I actually transferred them onto the ceiling up here. Now what I want to do is take a chalk line, and Ian, if you can hold the other end, great. I'm going to put this on the ceiling mark, pull it taut, like this, and then I'll snap a line for the ceiling. And then a second one for the back of the wall. I'm going to remove this corner molding. We'll put it back later. I've calculated that these little end sections on the wall need to be about 9 3/4 inches wide. So what I want to do now is remove this carpet and pad from the bottom of those wall sections, or where they're going to be. I laid my carpenter's square on the wall here. I put a piece of masking tape out here to know how far out to cut. And I'll make several passes with a knife. Okay, that should be loose now. We can kind of peel this back. With that rug out of the way, I've been able to measure the length of those end wall pieces, and I'm ready now to cut the wall studs. With everything cut to length now, I'm going to nail those top and bottom plates on the ends of the studs. All right, now let's see, that should fit, yeah, right in that cutout for the carpet. I'm going to align it with that mark on the wall. Now in this case, I'm going to attach this with the screws I have a 2x4 stud behind the wall here, in good fortune. I'm going to install this with the screws just because it'll be a little easier to work in here. Start with a pilot hole. And then a 3-inch sheetrock screw. Okay, that's nice and solid. Now the end wall over here on the left side, I had to do a little bit differently because I had to make allowance for the way the wall kind of juts out here. But with the exception of this step, I've assembled it pretty much the same way. So now we have the 2 end walls in place. It's time to build this section up here that's going to be over the doors called a header. So let's go outside and cut those pieces and put them together. Okay, well I finished assembling the headers and they went together pretty much the same way as those end walls. So let's go down and put these up now. Now the ceiling joists here are running in this direction. They should be about every 16 inches. I want to locate those now because that's what I'm going to attach the header to eventually. So there it is, right there, there's one. Now that we've located one ceiling joist, let's look for the second one over here to the left. Okay, there it is. Now let me verify it to be sure it's 16 inches apart. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now I'll continue across the ceiling and mark each ceiling joist. All right, now we'll just slip this up on top of that end wall. Ian, if you could take that one in there. Let me just, yeah, it's going to be a tight fit. Good, and then we'll run the screw in. Now we'll put this second section in. Okay, Ian, you can just shove it down to me. So you can see this is really strong. The next thing we're going to do is install the sheetrock, and we'll be right back after these messages. Later, I'll finish building the closet, show you how to take care of your no-wax vinyl floors, and tell you everything you need to know about jigsaws.
Transformation take place before your very eyes on HGTV's Before and After, Sunday at 8 Eastern on HGTV.
The Hudson Rose and Garden Sprayer. It's endorsed by the American Rose Society, but you'd expect that with a Hudson sprayer. Hudson Sprayers, more than you think. Find out, call 888-LADYBUG. Hudson Sprayers, buy now at Lowe's and lawn and garden centers everywhere.
Here's a quick look behind the scenes of HGTV's new fast-action, fast-paced show, The Fix.
We are rolling, and action!
Remember that project that you did that you thought was going to be so tough?
Well, it turned out to be very easy.
And how good you felt?
You definitely have the power to do this.
Looks fantastic. Yes.
We're dealing with a lot of power here.
The ideas.
The solutions.
The tools.
The Fix.
9 Eastern on HGTV weekend mornings.
Well, I've measured for my sheetrock now, and I'm ending up with about 4 pieces that are about 10 inches wide and almost 7 feet long. Now, I want to show you a trick for cutting sheetrock, especially when you're cutting into long, narrow strips like this. Take your tape measure and kind of pinch your fingers right here on the tin so that they'll glide along the edge of the rock over here. Take the mat knife and slip it up under the clip on the end of the blade, and then just move down the sheetrock, scoring the surface like this. Now, with this score line on the face, all I have to do is flip it over, kind of tap it on the back, break it like that, and then take my knife and finish cutting the paper on the back, pop it, and my cut's complete. And we've cut the carpet back a little bit. We want to make sure that this sheetrock is right down on the floor beneath it. All right, that's in position. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can attach the rock right now. We can do it with a screw and a screwdriver using a special sheetrock screw, just like this. Okay, and if you can just hold it there, okay? Or, would you hand me the hammer in? We can use a ring-shanked sheetrock nail. It's got little rings on it here, and just hammer it in. Now, whichever you use, there's one important point to make here. If you use the screw, make sure that the head of the screw is recessed beneath the surface of the sheetrock. If you use a nail, be sure that you've got a slight dimple here with your last hammer blow so that it also is below the surface of the sheetrock, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's time to fill those screw holes and deal with the seams in the sheetrock. To do that, we'll take a little sheetrock mud, put it in our pan here, and for the screw holes, just put it on top like this, wipe off the excess. For the seam, we'll lay a bed of sheetrock compound just like that. Take a piece of the paper joint tape, lay it right across the seam, and then take off the excess. Well, we've got our sheetrock on both sides of the wall now. We've filled the nail holes with the joint compound. We're going to let this first coat dry for a while before we sand it. Let's go outside now and cut the trim both for the sides and the top. Ian was lucky. He went to the local lumber yard and he found some rough cut redwood that matches the trim that's down in that room already. So I've measured the top and the two sides, and we'll need to make a couple of cuts here. We want to square the ends off first of all, and then I'll measure each piece to length. Okay, Ian? Great. I want to stain the trim before we put it up, and what I found is that by mixing a couple of Minwax colors here, cherry and red mahogany, we've come up with a color that's real close to the existing woodwork. And then we'll wipe off the excess with a rag. Now, with these stained, all we've got to do is get them in position here and nail them up. Now, this is not one of my best nailing positions. It's overhead. Now, we've got our opening all framed out with a wood trim, and we're going to start installing the door. This is a Monarch door. I'm going to follow their instructions, and the first step, they say, is to mount this head channel, which is going to guide the upper part of the door, and to make it flush with the wood trim right here. Okay, so Ian, if you've got your end in place, we'll just run these screws in with the driver here. We've got these head tracks in, and we're ready to go to the next step, but I want to be sure and explain something here. Ian and his wife wanted a large expanse of mirror, so we're actually installing two pairs of doors side by side. The next step is going to be to put in the lower track, and the instructions say to measure back about 1 5/8 inches from the front edge and put a mark, which I've done. Done the same thing on the other jamb. Now, Ian, if you'll take the chalk line, okay, and before we strike that, let's just knock off a little of the excess chalk. Okay, good. Now, if you put that on your mark. Okay, I'll do the same here. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
The installation kit comes with 4 of these blocks for each pair of doors, and the instructions say to mount these 1 5/8 inches back from the edge. That's going to be right on that chalk line that we just made. Now, I'm opting to leave the carpet here and put the door track on top of it. So I'm going to screw this down. Now, with the blocks in place, we just slip the track on top of them. And I'm going to drill a small pilot hole. And then drive in these brass screws that came with the installation kit. Okay, and we've got both tracks in now, and we're just about ready to hang the doors. But before we do that, I'd like you to put another coat of sheetrock compound on these joints. Use the wide blade here. Kind of feather these out so that this tapers back into the sheetrock, feathers back in, and then put another coat on the screw heads and sand everything nice and smooth. Put a coat of primer on here and 1 coat of flat latex wall paint. And I'll be back in a few days and we'll hang those doors and complete this. Well, Ian did a nice job on the paint. The sheetrock is all done. Our track's in the bottom. So all we really got to do now is install the door. This is really a simple process. These doors are installed by just tipping them like this, sliding them up into the track on the top, just like that, way up, and then dropping them down onto this track on the bottom. Now see, the whole door is supported by this track. There are wheels inside here. Alrighty, and this is the last panel. You know, not only are you picking up another 20 feet of closet space here, but these are also making the room brighter, and making it look larger at the same time. Hey, that's nice.
Find out how to take care of your no-wax vinyl floors and learn about a handy tool you can use around your home or
Cox Communications, one of the largest telecommunications companies in the United States, is looking for quality men and women to fill the position of customer care specialist right here in the Cleveland area. It's a great career opportunity for an energetic, customer and sales-oriented person who likes working where they live. Previous retail and/or customer service experience required. Cox is seeking outgoing team players who possess excellent verbal communications and organizational skills and are willing to learn. Work shifts available are Sunday through Thursday, 12:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., and Tuesday through Saturday, 12:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Cox has a comprehensive benefits package. Please forward your resume to the Human Resources Department or apply in person at 12221 Placid Drive, Parma, Ohio, 44130. No phone calls, please. Cox Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
Volvos have always forced other cars to be safer. This one will force them to be better. The new Volvo S80.
At this precise moment, somewhere in America, a plastic container is out of control. The handle of a laundry basket is giving way, and a garbage can has just lost its battle with a bumper. To the owners of these pathetic plastic containers, Rubbermaid has just one thing to say. Na 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 na. Rubbermaid, ideas that last.
Choose one. A floor sander. B, boarding school. C, a mop, slightly damp. Because it isn't wood, it isn't vinyl. It's Pergo, the revolutionary laminate floor from Sweden. The beautiful floor that stays beautiful despite life's little disasters.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax. If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Safer than any car we've ever built. As thrilling as any car anyone's ever built. The new Volvo S80.
You know, these resilient vinyl floors, especially the no-wax floors, are probably the ideal floor covering for kitchens. But, you know, one thing has always been kind of a mystery to me, and that is what's the best way to take care of them? I mean, they say no wax. Does that really mean no care? Well, I called a few people, done a little reading, and here's what I found out about how to maintain and clean these resilient vinyl floors. First of all, let me show you how they're made. They have kind of a substrate like this onto which a pattern is typically printed. And then on top of that, there's a clear, what they call wear surface. Now this can be urethane, it can be clear vinyl, but the idea is this is where all the traffic takes place and this is where all the dirt accumulates. Now when I say dirt, I'm talking about stuff like this sand, which if left on a floor and walked upon can cause really severe scratches, abrasive scratches in that wear surface, that urethane or that vinyl. So, the first rule in maintaining these floors is to clean them every day or so and make sure that none of this dirt is left on the surface. Well, there's no real secret to taking off that gritty dirt. You can do it with a broom, or actually I prefer to use a vacuum with a brush attachment. Every few days, just a washing with clear water will take up dried food stains or any other light dirt. It will not, however, remove dirt that is stubbornly attached itself to the floor. For that, you need to go one step further. Now, for routine cleaning, perhaps one of the easiest things to use is ammonia. It only takes maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons in a bucket of warm water like this, and then just sponge the floor down. Or you can choose from a number of proprietary cleaners, such as these. You know, what I think I want to experiment with today, though, is a system that's produced by one of the floor manufacturers, in this case Armstrong. They have a lightweight cleaner, a material to actually remove the accumulated polishes on here, and then a polishing system. So I'm going to show you that one, but I want to let you know what the alternatives are. Now, here are a couple of important things when you're using any of these. Let's start with the cleaner here. This is called one step. Is you want to have a cleaner that requires no rinsing or eliminates the rinsing step. That's going to save you a lot of work. However, it also means that as you're cleaning your floor, you're depositing dirt back into the bucket here. So if you've got a large floor, stop maybe once or twice during the cleaning process and pour this water out and mix yourself a fresh batch. Now, when you've got some particularly stubborn marks, like the heel marks made from this boot here, here are some tricks that you can use. Sometimes you can use the cleaner full strength right out of the bottle with a soft cloth or a paper towel. Paint thinner, or in a real pinch, charcoal lighter will often work to remove tar and asphalt and rubber heel marks. You know, a product that I find works great on floors for both heel marks and crayons and other marks of that type is this Goo Gone. And you just put it on the cloth, wipe it like this. It does a great job of cleaning those right off. If you've got some dried food and you need something a little more solid, a common plastic spatula like this can be used to safely chip things off without damaging the surface of the floor. And here are some things that can cause damage to your floor if you use them. Excessively stiff scrub brushes, knives used for scraping, steel wool, especially the coarse style, and even in some cases these plastic scrubbers. Remember I said before that all vinyl floors have this clear coating on the top, either acrylic or vinyl. And there comes a time in the life of any floor when it requires some really deep cleaning, either because this has become so badly scratched and worn that it's now dull, or because there's a buildup of polish on here. Well, that's when we want to bring out the big guns, and I'll show you how they work. These products are usually called wax removers. Now, in fact, this kind of a floor would never really have wax on it, but they're designed to remove built-up dirt, ground-in dirt, and previous polishes. And typically they're used right out of the bottle, full strength. They're spread onto the floor with a sponge mop. And most often the directions will tell you to work in an area about 3 feet square. Let this sit for about, 2 to 3 minutes, and then rinse it off with clear water. Well, I've rinsed the floor now and let it dry. And boy, it really has come out very, very clean. I'm impressed with that material. And it's time now to put the protective polish on. Now, on no-wax floors, in fact, on all vinyl floors, the polish is an acrylic, a liquid material that looks something like this. You can see it's water clear. To apply the clear acrylic polish, dampen your sponge mop, and then you can pour this generally right out of the bottle onto the floor. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is apply this in thin coats. I can't emphasize that too much, because if you put it on too thickly, it simply won't dry underneath, and you run the risk also of cracking and a cloudy finish. So thin coats, if you need to put on more than one, then do so. I like to finish this off with long, straight strokes like this. It takes about 30 minutes for these to dry, maybe a little bit longer on a humid day. So the rules for keeping your no-wax vinyl floor in great shape are to sweep or vacuum them often, remove loose dirt with clear water periodically, get rid of those stubborn stains by using a no-rinse floor cleaner, remove the built-up polish and embedded dirt with a stripper and wax remover, and to keep them looking nice and to protect them, use a clear acrylic polish. And these are always going to look beautiful. Well, it's time for another look at some of the hand power tools in my tool bag here. This is a jigsaw or saber saw, and it's really designed for cutting curves. This is the best tool, best power tool you could have in your home tool kit for that. If I were going to choose a saw that had virtually any feature I would ever want, it would probably be this sort of top-of-the-line Bosch here. And let me show you why I like this particular tool. First of all, it's got a variable speed device here. And I'll show you why that's important in a minute. And also a control down here that causes this blade to kind of go into orbital motion. That's very important when cutting heavier materials or if you want to make a very smooth cut. Also a little switch here that turns on a fan that blows sawdust out of the way. Now let me show you how nice this cuts in a piece of plywood here. We're going to put this back on the smooth cut position so we don't chip. We'll set the speed at about a medium level. Okay, you see how easily I can follow that line? Now, if I'm going to go through something heavier, like this 2x6, I'll put this in the orbital position, turn the speed up to maximum, and we can cut through this in a flash. The blades on this saw are interchangeable. This one, for example, is designed to cut through thin veneer plywood, and the red one here is designed to cut through metal. So this really is a terrific tool anytime you want to cut curves or straight cuts in solid lumber, plywood, or metal. Now, the price range on this tool is anywhere from $50 to $130. This one is expensive, about $130, but it can be rented at most tool rental places for about $9 a day.
For my everyday paint colors and combinations, I didn't just pick the colors. I picked the colors that go with the colors you pick, and they're available at Sears and Kmart.
Betty Crocker knows how to make 'em flip. Lighter, fluffier Bisquick pancakes. 'Cause when it comes to great pancakes, Betty knows best.
We're here to demonstrate the new Weiser-Lock PowerVolt 3000 home access system, a fancy name for the lock on your front door. The difference is this handy remote. Easy and convenient. PowerVolt is easy to install and smart. It can open the garage door, turn your house lights off and on, and it tells you when your home is locked and secure. And with our patented Brilliance finish, it will last a lifetime. The Weiser-Lock PowerVolt 3000 home access system from a single remote.
Every battery says they're better. One thing's for sure. With Railback, you get long-lasting alkaline power for less money. If you don't think they're just as good, you get your money back. You heard it here first.
Spreads like buttercream, covers like royal icing. My everyday paint colors and combinations make decorating a piece of cake, and they're available at Sears and at Kmart.
Give me one good reason why I should jump.
New movie! Jump to Disney for Disney Channel original movies.
New shows!
You'll see new game shows like Off the Wall, Mad Libs, plus Zoo Disney, and all new episodes of your favorite Disney series.
New classics!
Like In Sync and Cleopatra in concert.
So you're gonna jump to Disney or what? No! Yeah!
Everybody's making the jump to Disney.
Bounce over for fun from Disney and Cox Cable.
The 1998 VH1 Fashion Awards featuring Courtney Cox, Rupert Everett, Salma Hayek, Anne Hayes, Sheila McDermott, Claudia Schiffer, Wesley Snipes, Michael Stipe, and more. With live performances by Janet Jackson, Lenny Kravitz, Madonna, Smashing Pumpkins. Hosted by Ellen DeGeneres. The 1998 VH1 Fashion Awards. The night's music and fashion blow you away. Tuesday, October 27th at 9, 8 Central.
Brought to you in part by Naked Furniture in Middleburg Heights.
Thanks for watching. Now it's your turn to roll up your sleeves, get out there, and tackle some of those projects that you may have been putting off. And please join me next time, when, as always, I'll have lots of tips and suggestions to make your next home improvement job just a little bit easier. See you then.
Stop by for a progress check and maybe even learn a thing or two about renovation when This Old House Classics gets back to work. Let's see if we can keep this project on track tonight at 7 Eastern, only on HGTV.